Hello, everybody. My name is Ultima1125, and welcome back to another part to the story of Unjust Gospel. Thank you all so much for always coming back, watching all my videos. I hope you guys are all enjoying my gameplays, which I've been doing. I've been doing some other gameplays to fill out the time while I worked on each part of the story. So I'm not gonna delay it anymore. We're just gonna get started. So let's just get started on part 9. Wow, it's already been that long already. Wow, time goes by fast. Don't you guys agree? Anyway, so yeah, so let's continue on part 9 of Unjust Gospel. Still feeling my body burning, I felt myself falling through a hole. Everything inside turned so white, eventually landing on top of something. I laid silently, feeling at peace, till a rugged end of a cloak flies over me.
You don't look so good.
I hear the mysterious cloaked person. Not feeling to respond back to him, I stared blankly at him.
I'm not gonna let you get erased.
He says, flipping me over.
Why?
I said to myself, closing my eyes.
Listen to me. I want you to remember.
He says,
Remember the time when something changed within you.
change? What does he mean? I wondered.
Remember what made you who you are today.
He says. Thinking from what he said, I started to recall a time where I felt it all started. What made me who I am today? I said, thinking more of the event.
That's it.
I hear him say while feeling his hand on my head. Remembering more, I remember back as a child and ran across the street, seeing my older sister on the other side.
What are you remembering?
I hear him ask. Just the first time when I was about to get hit by a car, I replied.
So, seeing the car stopping in front of you made you understand something?
No, the car didn't stop. The car sideswiped me, letting me feel it run by. I replied, remembering feeling from the event.
Were you injured?
Luckily, no. But the moment I felt the car, I thought I was dead for sure. But now, comparing it to the events that I'm experiencing now, it doesn't even hold a candle. Remembering the event, I felt regret emerging, making me feel uncomfortable.
Anything else happen after that?
He asked. After that event, I started to notice the vast difference in everyone's lifestyle and the struggles everyone has to go through every day, including my parents. I said, remembering seeing my parents stressing together in the kitchen.
How old were you when you started noticing all this?
Can't recall, but I think I was in elementary at that time.
But throughout your childhood, you acknowledge what your world was.
That's a laugh. No, I mostly turned a blind eye towards it, pretending to be as blissful to things around me as much as possible.
I see. And anything else happen?
Feeling my face beginning to burn, I recall a moment I met Amelia and noticed something odd about her.
Who's that?
He asks. My childhood friend, Amelia. I reply.
Your lover?
No, just someone I thought might could help, but found myself putting myself in a complicated situation.
Why? What happened?
I went through most of my memory, seeing myself playing with Amelia, but every memory of her before the promise, I remember feeling her smile was not her real smile. Feeling the urge to ask if anything were wrong, but felt if I did, I would be acknowledging the world around me, and I didn't want that. The more time passes, I found myself hanging around Amelia, and the more I got to know her, the more I wanted to ask her. But at the same time, the more I wanted to ask her, the more I feel I would regret it immensely. I said.
But you went on and did it.
He says. Yeah. I said, recalling the time when Amelia and I were walking back home together. I felt something deep within me to ask her, but so I finally did. And at the time, she was hesitant to tell me, but in the end, she felt she could trust me.
And what was it?
She said that she had an illness, but at the time, she didn't understand what that meant. All she knew was that her illness was the main reason why her parents were never around at her house.
Did you feel something after that?
Yeah, my entire body screaming something horrible was about to happen. Continuing, something in my memory emerges, bringing along some regret. A hospital pops into my head as if of my regret stopping me from continuing.
What's wrong?
I hear him ask. Just this event was, I guess, you could say, it's the day that I trapped myself. I answer. Near the hospital doors, I remember Amelia running out, disappearing into the woods, feeling as if I should chase after her.
What were you doing at the hospital?
Just the regular checkups and shots, but to be honest, that wasn't really the important part. I said.
Why?
Because during my time there, because during my time there, I overheard from the other doctors talking to each other that Amelia ran away and no one knew where she went, which you could say made me go ahead and take action for them.
Why didn't you tell them where you saw her?
To be honest, I don't know. Whether I was trying to be cool or stupid didn't matter to me. All I knew was that Amelia was running away from something, and I needed to know what it was.
Did you have some kind of responsibility to do that?
I don't know. I just felt like I needed to find her first.
So then, what happened when you chased after her?
Well, immediately started regretting not entering into the forest without an adult, first of all. Well, I immediately regretted entering into the forest without an adult, first of all. But moreover, I felt I need to. But moreover, I felt I needed to commit to my decision and see it through.
Well, Was it because you had feelings for her?
Again, I don't know. But if I had to guess, it might have been that I didn't want to regret not chasing after her and letting myself pretend to stay blissful to everything. I felt my regret becoming unbearable, seeing my memories burning. Seeing everything burning around me, I felt myself suppressing something within me.
Stay focused!
He says, pressing his hand on my head. My head clears up, and the flames retreat as I remember finding Amelia on top of a log crying by herself.
What happened? What did you find to make you start wanting to avoid reality?
I hear him struggling. I ended up finding her somehow, and luckily there was a stray dog giving her trouble. I kinda chased the dog away, but ended up running deeper in the forest with Amelia, finally losing it.
So, what did you do after?
I don't know when or how, but Amelia hurt her ankle, so I had to carry her back the way we came. But while I carried her, I asked her for her reason for running. I said, feeling something that I was trying to suppress emerging. She apparently overheard the doctors talking to her parents about her illness and how they're only able to slow the process. Eventually, hearing them saying that she won't live to her adulthood. Remembering feeling Amelia's clinging tight onto me and her tears dropping on my shirt. I remember the words she said to me that day. It made me feel entangled with emotion and ultimately made me acknowledge reality for the first time. I'm afraid. I don't want to die. Don't want to be alone. Mom, Dad, please don't leave me. Amelia cries out. Unsure what I could say, I spoke out the first things that came to mind. I don't know if I could do anything for you, but if there's something I can do is to at least not let you die alone. But little did I realize how difficult that would be for me to handle.
Why?
I hear him grunting in pain. Well, in situations like this, others who hears this would say they would do whatever they can to support that one individual or other things. But sad to say, that's all a what if and not an actual experience. You could call me a coward for trying to run away from it. Call me a lowlife. Say that I'm just making excuses for myself. I was fully aware of it, but the pressure for me at that age to force myself to watch someone I was going to grow up with to die in front of me was more than I could handle.
So, what did you do in the end?
Later after the event, I realized how rough I put myself in, making me want to run from it all. Return back to my blissful time before I got sideswiped by a car. But I knew if I did, the feeling of abandoning someone who placed their trust on you would be even more painful to deal with than just running. With that thought in mind, over time, I found myself unintentionally distancing myself from Amelia. But no matter what I did, Amelia always chased after me. Looking back, I realized how many times I made Amelia chase after me when I was trying to distance myself from her, and how I rarely stopped for her.
So then, why didn't you tell anybody?
How could she? As a child, she saw the first person she told to promise her to be with her when she died, and now he's trying to distance himself from her. The more I dwelled in my past, the more I felt my regret forcing me to contain it. As I felt myself wanting to end it, I felt the cloak person grunting.
Hang in there.
I hear him say, "Why are you trying to save me? What do you get out of this?" I ask.
I have my own reason. What I do with it is up to me.
He replies. Hearing his answer, I started to think about my action to why I made that promise to Amelia when we were kids. Did I make that promise because I felt bad for her? Was it because I thought I could act like those main characters in those TV shows? Or did I do it because I thought it would be the right thing to do? I questioned myself. The more I thought into it, the more confused I became. Unable to figure out the answer, I started wondering what the cloaked person was doing it for. He doesn't know me. I don't know him. Nor do I even know what he has in store in the future. But I opened my eyes to see him struggling for a moment, feeling some tears run down my face. Would I have turned out different if I approached it differently? I asked. What's in the past is in the past. What you do from then on is up to you. I hear a voice echoing out. Even if it leaves you with nothing but regret or sorrow? I ask. Every choice will always leave you with regret or sorrow, but it's up to you if you think you chose the right thing or not. You already knew this, but you were just too scared to look at it. It calls out. Closing my eyes, I see myself again about to get hit by the car, feeling the fear and the shock from almost getting hit by the car, and seeing Amelia crying by herself. I started to feel the regret, turning to frustration, then turned to fear mixed with sadness, suddenly turning to nothing. Feeling none of my feelings emerging, I wondered to myself if I went into the demon mode again. Checking around, I noticed that I was in control of my own body. Getting up, I felt the flames not burning me anymore, but saw my body completely covered in it.
Finally reached a decision.
I hear the guy say. Looking over, I see the cloaked man holding his arm, seeing some of his arm burned, leaving a black mark on it as he gasped for air. Pondering on his question, I stayed silent, unsure if I did find my answer, but felt as least I found something that could help me get through any hardships.
Well, whatever you chose, you at least didn't give up on existing.
He says, I don't know what I chose, but whatever I did choose, it may come back to bite you. I said.
If that's the case, at least you did it on your own accord.
He replies. Staring at the cloaked man, I felt immense rage and pain, looking around to only see the white void.
Something wrong?
He asks. Just wondering what your angle is, I reply.
I told you. I have my reason for my action. The same for you, just staying alive.
he says, getting up on his feet. Getting up on my feet, I looked down to see the void below me, wondering what we were standing on.
So, now you know the truth.
He says, placing his hand on my shoulder. Not by choice, but I do appreciate what you did, I said, taking his hand off my shoulder.
Sorry about that. But even if I didn't, you would have found out it later.
He says. I guess that's true, I said. I continued glaring at the cloaked man, still wondering who he is or what he's after. He notices my glare and sighs out, checking his phone.
I can answer some of your questions, just so I could clear some of your doubts towards me.
He says. Looking at him confused, I cross my arm. What makes you think I still have doubts towards you? You're literally the person who helped me get through my ordeal and told me the truth.
You said it before. You're paranoid, and I can tell you're feeling my sense of negativity.
He replies. So, because you know that I'm feeling your sin along with your negativity, you think I still don't trust you? I ask.
Yes,
I see, I said, trying to find something to lean on. So then, why did you save me then?
it's because you would be a good teammate to us if you survived.
He says, following behind. Us? There's more of you guys? I said, stopping.
Yes, there are others who lost their home reality to those two, and we see them adding them to our ranks to aid us in our fight.
He says, holding his fist out in front of me. Uh-huh, I said, feeling a bit insecure.
Yeah, and I finally found the current quote unquote chosen selector of the power.
He says. Feeling discomfort of him saying that, I look at my body again, engulfed in the black flames, seeing it burning strong. By the way, can I get a name? I asked, realizing I never knew his name.
I was beginning to wonder when you were going to ask me that.
He replies.
For safety purposes, just call me Shade.
Okay, Shade, I said. I still have more questions to ask you, so is that possible right now? Shade looks at his phone again and looks back at me.
There's still time, but make them quick, because Satan will be on his way soon to check up on you.
Do you have an ally watching him at this time right now to let you know if he's on his way? I ask.
Yes,
Shade answers. Okay. Well, another question I have is, why do I have this feeling that I know you from somewhere? I ask. Shade stayed silent for a while, seeing him wondering to himself while pacing back and forth in front of me.
Satan never told you?
Shade asked. I think he mentioned it a little bit, but never really actually explained in great detail about it. I replied, shrugging my shoulder.
I see.
Shade says, stopping in front of me. Seeing him standing in front of me, I held my breath while waiting patiently for him to answer my question. Shade leans closer to me while circling around me. Um, what are you doing? I said, confused from his actions.
Sorry. Well, to start, what do you understand about hell and heaven?
Shade asks. I don't know. All I remember is that the souls go to hell and goes through some kind of trial, and that's pretty much it, I said.
Okay, well, heaven and hell are like processors. They take the souls, and depending on what their sins, they go to either heaven or hell. And like you said, hell makes our souls take trials to rehabilitate them, while people who ends up in heaven are rewarded with everything they ever want till they are fully satisfied.
Okay, man. I kind of recall that, but what happens to them after? I ask.
Once they feel at peace and ready to move on, or restart, so they say, they get reincarnated with a new body and a new memory. They won't remember their previous life, but in some way, memory stays with the soul, making the current life they live remember stuff despite them not having any knowledge about it.
So they just get reincarnated in the same reality? I ask.
Not exactly. They get sent into random reality. To put it in summary, when the soul is ready to restart, they get reborn in another reality, whether it's almost exactly the same or not. There's a chance since you don't know which reality out of the infinite reality you will be born in, Shade says.
Shade says. So you're saying there's a chance that you can end up in a reality that is close to your previous soul's home, and its memory will sometimes overlap with yours. So what you're saying is that even though we get reincarnated in a completely different reality, if there's something that remotely looks similar to something that our previous lives experienced, it could overlap.
Yeah. But since you die and live so many times, it wouldn't be surprised if everyone that you meet has more than one kind of memories.
Shade said. So that means I got reincarnated.
Multiple times. Yes.
Sighing out in a bit of a shock, I walked around randomly around the area, taking in the information, noticing Shade looking at his phone again. Out of time? I asked.
Almost.
Shade said, putting his phone away. So, what happens now? I asked.
Well, that's up to you. You can follow me back to everyone else who are waiting for time to strike, or you can stay here, unsure what they will do to you.
Shade said, opening a hole in the air. Feeling like it should be obvious that I should follow Shade right now, I felt that I had something that I had to check to get my conclusion. Shade sees me take a sigh as I step away from him.
Are you seriously willing to stay and see them again, despite knowing what they did to other people before you had that power, or what they were about to do to your reality?
Shade asked. It should be common logic to follow with a person who not only told me the truth before the bad end happened, and even saved me from disappearing, but I I said, feeling my emotions returning.
Stop.
Shade stops me, feeling as if he understood what I needed to do.
If you need to do it, then do it. But when you're done, find and be ally spying on Satan or God, and say this code to them. Bound by chains, and the response should be freedom.
Memorizing the code, I realized I still haven't. Memorizing the code, I realized I still have one question that should have been something I asked right away. Looking up, I see Shade standing next to the portal, about to walk through. One more question, I shouted out. Shade stops and looks over to me.
What's that?
How were you able to find me? I asked. I see Shade looking down, feeling as if he were thinking to himself whether to tell me or not.
Let's just say I had someone helping me.
Shade replies. I watch Shade walk through the portal and see it close in front of me, leaving me alone in the white void, till suddenly I feel familiar pressure behind me. Without hesitation, I turn around to see God and Satan floating down, surprised to see me standing.
Well, that's unexpected.
Satan says. Isn't everything supposed to be unexpected for you? I ask, feeling frustrated. I ask, feeling frustration building.
I guess, but not like this.
Satan replies. Keeping my distance from Satan and God, I started to feel regret on myself for not following behind Shade.
So, what did you do?
Satan asks. Do what? I ask.
What did you do to stop your existence from being burned away?
Satan asks. How the fuck am I supposed to know? I responded, keeping both of them in my sights.
Well, whatever you did, I didn't expect it to leave you looking like one of those bosses that you see in games, making the players unable to see their body till they finally get to fight them.
Satan said. I'm sorry, what? I said, looking at myself. Looking down, I finally noticed that one of my arms was not engulfed in the black flames, and wondered how much of myself was still there. God creates a mirror and holds it in front of me. Seeing through the mirror, I see what was once my body covered in the black flames, leaving only half my face and one arm untouched. Seeing my body, I felt silent, trying to process what I was seeing. I sort of see what you mean with that.
Thank you, honey.
Satan said.
So, you're gonna tell us how you did it?
If you don't know how I did it, what makes you think I know how I fucking did it? I said.
He makes a good point.
God says.
Still doesn't make sense considering how much he was complaining that we weren't able to get the power out of him.
Satan responds. Oh, I wonder why that would be, I said. I don't know. How would you guys feel if some random people barged into your life, forced a big responsibility onto you without your permission, watch you as you fight against random beings you have no connection with, experiencing death every time, and finally hear the truth that you were being used as a lab rat and was going to be thrown away once you reach your limit? How would you guys feel about that?
Honestly, I really wouldn't give a fuck. And you should know that we did the opposite method that you just mentioned to other people, and none of them made it through. I hope you know.
Satan replies, that doesn't make it better, I said.
Well, what do you expect from us? We never interacted with others before. The only thing we can tell from them is what they really desire or aspire for.
Satan says. Frustrated, I held myself from punching Satan from everything he put me through. Sighing out and taking a deep breath, I looked straight at Satan, feeling my anxiety returning before feeling nothing again. You know what? I don't care anymore. What's done is done. Unless you guys can travel back in time to fix all the shit you guys did, then fuck it. There's nothing we could do. There's nothing you guys can do. We should just move on, I said.
Really now?
Satan says, looking confused. I know. I should be being the living daylights out of you. But right now, I have other priorities, and this is not one of them, I said.
Are you still saying that your promise to your love interest is more important to you than being able to have the power to erase anything at will?
Satan asked. And I thought you already knew what was really going on with me and Amelia, I said. Satan sighs.
You really planning on returning back?
Yeah, I said, keeping my eyes on Satan.
Are you sure? You don't need to.
God says. Taking a couple of breaths, feeling as if I need to find my answer or I may not be able to continue forward. I look back at them. I had a chance to leave everything behind, not once, but twice. But I need to see my reality one more time before I decide on anything, I said. Satan grabs my shoulder, feeling him gripping on tight, seeing the black flames not burning his hand.
I won't stop you, but I hope you understand what you will be seeing and hearing.
Satan says. I know. This won't be the first time I heard it, I said, feeling anxious. I take Satan's hand off and walked around them till I got behind them. Thinking more of what I was about to get myself in, I readied myself for the worst. Can you guys open a portal back to my reality, please? I asked them. God waves her hand forward and a hole appears, showing my neighborhood through it. And without a second hesitation to my decision, I walked through the door, returning back home. And that is going to be the end for this part. I hope you guys are all enjoying the story so far. I've been really enjoying making each script for each part of my story and telling them to you with a little bit of horrible voice acting. But anyway, a bit of a shout out for my friend Robert, aka H-Drive. He's doing a live stream on Twitch where he's playing a mobile game right now called Fate Grand Order. Don't know if he's gonna play another game or anything like that on his stream, but that's the game he's currently playing right now. And he will also have 2 other people with him, me included. So the stream, he says, is going to start in Tuesday around 5 p.m. and maybe a hit or miss on Friday around 10 p.m. or early. The name of the stream is going to be under H-Drive 0. So go ahead, and if you guys want to hear me participate with him playing a mobile game that I never touched before, then go on over and watch. And with that said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, I'll see you guys all when I see ya.